Yo. You're right. So, why are some vowels harder to sing than others? Let me get my guitar. This was a good question that I don't think I've answered before, and I don't think I've seen it answered very well elsewhere either. So, what typically, and this is really referring to the navigating the bridge, the couple of videos I did earlier this week or last week, depending on when this goes up. But a commenter said, why is it that some vowels are harder to sing than others? And the demonstrations on that, I was demonstrating kind of three types of vowel on the second video, and all of those vowels and all of those coordinations were in some ways the same, but in other ways quite different, because we had like a gu gu gu, and a na na na, and a wee wee wee. Yeah, so one was a wee 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 heady, na 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 pharyngeal, bright, and one was a go go go, goo goo goo, or something like that, dark and thick, goo goo goo. Yeah. So, my experience, and I think most people will probably find this, is when they start out with mix, these thick goo goo goo, boo boo boo, these thick darker vowels can be incredibly hard to get through, whereas a nay 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 can be quite easy, and a wee 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 can often be quite easy as well. So let's talk about the tendencies of beginners. Ultimately, the vowel doesn't really matter. To some extent, we learn to navigate through our range on any type of sound. That's the end goal. But when we start out, there's a lot of things kind of jumbled up and confused in the head, and the skill set's not developed yet. So what tends to happen is, as people go through their range, on like a gu gu gu, they'll have like a gu 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 gu. The larynx will want to jack right up. Now if you give them a nay, they'll kind of have a nay 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 nay. It'll go up there and it'll be like, well, that kind of matches up, it kind of works. The thing is that the habit of the beginner, typically, especially the one that's struggling with high notes, is the larynx wants to creep up always as they go through that bridge. Now, the nay nay nay, it's a bright vowel. The larynx is already raised. Nay nay nay. So when we go through there, the predominant habit of the larynx coming up is it doesn't really affect the sound because the larynx is already up on that vowel. So when we have that nay 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 nay, it's already up. So it's in line, it's congruent with the typical habit of a beginner. Now, or it can be. This varies from case by case. I'm talking generally. You might be different, but I'm talking generally. Now the boo, boo 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 boo. Let's try and get it better. Boo 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 boo. That boo, again, just like the goo I had before, boo 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 boo. It wants to come up. Yeah. So the solution typically people find, and they're used to, is boo 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 boo, is to let go of the compression, which we spoke about in the previous video. Don't need to do that. So, the reason why this dark vowel is difficult is just two things, really, I would say. Firstly, it doesn't really sync up with the typical habits of a beginner, because the larynx has to be boo boo boo, has to be down, basically, darkened, boo boo boo, all the way through the exercise. And obviously if the habit is boo 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 boo, to bring the larynx up, the vowel will shift drastically. Whereas if the larynx creeps up a bit on the nay 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 nay, you don't really hear the difference because the larynx was already up to begin with. Yeah? So that's one reason. The other reason is that the boo 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 tends to encourage thickness in the closure and the compression, boo, 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 yeah, yeah, yeah. It's basically a full voice type of coordination typically. Whereas a nay, 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 nay can lead us more towards a medium middle amount of closure. So because the tendency of a beginner is to boo, 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 is to back off compression as they go up through their bridge. Again, you've got two things working against them. So you've got the fact that they're used to bringing the larynx up, and the fact that they're used to letting off compression, and the boo by its nature is a depressed larynx, boo, 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 and thick on the compression, boo, boo, boo. So those two things are working against the beginner because everything in their head tells them let go of compression and bring the larynx up. Their habits, everything that they've put in there in terms of muscle memory goes against that vowel. Does that make sense? So that vowel is going to be harder for them to coordinate at first because their dominant habit is very far away from coordinating that vowel correctly. Whereas the nay, 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 like I said, it's more congruent with the typical habits a beginner will have.